Summer produce is still going strong at the store and the farmers markets. So it's not time to give up on those fresh veggies, never. The problem is keeping it all fresh before you get around to eating it. Hy-Vee dietitian Nina Struess would just say, well, eat it right away. Don't waste it. Or follow the tips you're about to share. Nina, a lot of us are throwing away that bag salad. That goes bad fast, seems.
Yeah, it really does. I actually, when I give nutrition tours to people in the stores, I actually tell them to avoid the bag salad unless they know they're going to use it within 1 to 2 days because it just bad so fast. I actually find if you are a convenience person like I am sometimes with my produce, I actually find like the containers that you can get that are more of the plastic
Those
containers.
are better. Those are better.
Those are better. They allow a little bit more breathing room for the greens, but I find that these tend to last a lot longer, several days, sometimes even a week, versus 1 to 2 days of the bag salad varieties.
Yeah, that's a good tip, and I found that too. And so it's the container. That's what it is. The breathability of the container compared to a bag.
Yep, that's what it is a lot of times when it comes to storing your fresh produce. Plus, also whether or not you're washing your produce. So washing a lot of instances can increase, mold. It can increase breakdown of, especially with things like berries and even some of our greens. And so for a lot of our fresh produce, we actually recommend not washing it until you're right about to use it.
Okay, so same with berries. So let's start with the berries. What's the best way to keep your strawberries and blueberries from just getting all soft and brown spotty?
Yeah, so I think it depends on how fast you eat them in your house. So if you don't eat them very quickly, you don't want to wash them. And you can store them in the containers. They're fine in like a crisper drawer. Or if you want even longer life, you could use like a container that has a very, a sealable lid, or a ball jar would work really well too. And then if you, like my child goes through a thing of strawberries within 2 days. So what I do is I typically wash them really good in a strainer, and then I let them dry for a little bit, and then I take a paper towel, like even just these like quarter pieces of paper towel, and I'll stuff it down into that same container, and then berries on top of the paper towel. Because what that does is it helps collect any extra moisture from the berries that you just rinsed off, and that will help kind of prevent some of that. That ripening.
Yeah, because the water is the enemy of the berries, right? Yeah.
And so you don't want them sitting in water right next to each other. That's kind of how they get super slimy and such. And so if you can put a paper towel in there, I found that this actually works really well. But again, that's more if you're going to use them within a couple of days in the refrigerator.
I see you have potatoes out there, and somebody has suggested recently to me, put your potatoes in the refrigerator. And then I read something else that said never put a potato in the fridge.
No.
How do you feel about that?
That's just one that does not need to go into the refrigerator. And actually, so potatoes are one of those vegetables, along with other fruits and vegetables too, that have they emit what's called ethylene gas, and so that actually speeds up the ripening process of certain types of fruits and vegetables around them. So that can be a problem when you put it in the refrigerator, especially a lot of your greens like broccoli, cauliflower, dark leafy greens, which are really prone to that gas. And so potatoes, actually, you just want a nice cool place on the counter, and you don't want to store them next to things like onions either, or even bananas or something, because then they're just going to speed up that ripening process also. So a nice bowl, somewhere on a cool, dark place on your counter is a great place for your potatoes.
Don't leave them in the bag, because you guys had that big sale on 10 pounds of potatoes, and now I've got more potatoes than I'll eat in a year. So I should take them out of the bag?
It really depends. Sometimes you can leave them in there. Again, it depends on how quickly you're going to use them. If they're in a dark, a nice, dark, cool place, they should actually be okay in the bag for a while, but you just want to check on them. I've had many times where I've left them in a bag and a couple of them have gone, really bad.
Right.
So.
Okay. So one more thing, Nina, let's talk about the fresh herbs that you have out there. You want to talk about preserving those?
Yeah, so these ones just depend on the type of herb. So for more your delicate ones like cilantro and parsley, you actually want to cut off parts of the ends. You can put them in a glass with about an inch of water, and then actually you're going to take a plastic bag and you're going to put those on top of it. So you're actually going to store your herb inside the plastic bag in the fridge, just like that. Now, hardier herbs like rosemary and thyme, you can actually put them in a paper towel and then put them into a plastic bag and store them in the fridge. And the best one is basil, because basil can basically be like a bouquet on your counter, and that one can just be put in a ball jar with water and refresh it, and that can stay on your counter fresh as well.
Wow, great tips, Nina. And the point is, don't throw anything away. Oh my goodness, do what you can to, when you bring that fresh stuff home, have a plan for it right away.
Yes.
And, or follow the tips.
Yeah, and Nutritious Seasons has all of this information plus more.
Yes, in the Seasons magazine. There you go. That's a good article about it, and it lines up all of these different produce items that we mentioned. Thanks, Nina.
Thanks.